Okay, let's try this again. Round number 3, shall we? I'm not playing the game. For some reason, my system is having a fit. So I'm just gonna go old school with it. Let's do round number 3. And I'll pick up where I left off. So this is save points. And we're just doing that. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Round number 3, shall we? This has been horrendous. I don't know what was going on with my system right now. I need to probably optimize it. Preferably for tomorrow. But no game. Game is off because for some reason Breath of Fire 4 is causing my system to go haywire. So let's pick up to where I'm going. So I said all that for the Valentine's Day date is that there was a lot of problems with it. One thing, it took away from Jade and Jordan's match. Like, even though you know that probably Jordan wasn't going to win it, it kind of took away from the match because everybody was waiting for Dom and then waiting for Dom to do something. So that took away from the match. And then, bless you. And then we have Dom and Raquel, just like I said, it's just accessories to Liv. Like, they're not advancing anything. Like, we could have at least had something where maybe somebody comes out to challenge Dom or somebody to, do something with Raquel. Something. And we never did get that. So it was just accessories to Liv. And to be perfectly honest, they could have did this like Valentine's Day date on social media. Like, do what like they did with Rhea and Dom. Like, have them have their separate day, put it on social media where it'd be cool. And then if they really want Liv to be out there to antagonize Jade, have Liv and Raquel out there. And then not have Raquel out there in a passive way. It's kind of like how Raquel should have been out there when Stephanie was out there, because Raquel could have been translating for Liv to Stephanie, and that would have actually advanced the storyline a little bit because Raquel would have been forced into this role to translate, and you got that tension between Liv and Raquel. See, that would have at least made more sense. But when you got Dom out there, like I said, it's just accessories. He's got a title, but is he talking about said title? No. The only time he was talking about his title was in the clubhouse, and it's just like and that was just in passing before he talked to Finn. So it was just a lot of things where it wasn't working right for Dom and Raquel there. But like I said, I don't think they looked that happy a lot of the times during that match. Oh, thank you for the like, Mark. Um, and like I keep repeating myself, it's just like everything stalled for Dom and Raquel. Like, are we just gonna drag all this to WrestleMania for Raquel? Like, you know how I said the four pathways to Raquel look like they're all gonna be a loss? Like, are we just gonna drag everything for Raquel all the way to WrestleMania so then maybe she gets turned on at WrestleMania and then Liv and Raquel start feuding? Like, it's things like that. But anywho, let's get into some social media symbolism and social media posts. So, did y'all see the post after SmackDown? Liv had a post that said "Eat your heart out." You know who also had a post that said "Eat your heart out" with a said rose, but it was black? Rhea. And again, that predates the betrayal. I'm just saying, there's some things that are really, really lining up when it comes to Liv, and there are some really interesting similarities happening with Liv and Rhea. Like the whole path on 2024. Like what's going on with Liv now just feels like what would have probably happened with Rhea had she not been injured in 2024. It's just that they had to carry on with Dom and Liv while Rhea was out, so they had to carry the storyline on their own. That's probably what made it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. And it was great. It was a great storyline. It was a nice build up. But it feels that what they're having Liv do now feel like what they were going to do with Rhea. And they couldn't do it with Rhea because she's so dang popular and she's just not going to get the booze, or she's not going to get, you're not going to get, um, I guess they didn't get what they wanted with Rhea. Like everything Rhea's going to do except for probably beat up on Io is going to get cheered. And like I said, the Eat Your Heart Out is just more symbolism. Like we're seeing a lot more of the symbolism come into play. We have the playlist mirroring. We have the Eat Your Heart Out mirroring. We had the leads ends up into WrestleMania this time, not Survivor Series that time, with Liv. I mean, remember what was going on with Rhea in the Judgment Day in the build up to, like, in the build up into WrestleMania. Dom was taking sucker punches for Rhea, which is what parallels what Stephanie did to Dom this past Monday. Dom and Rhea were having issues. Now we're not having that issue problem just yet. I'm just saying there's some stuff on the undersurface, and I'm going to get into that. But we had the Dom and Rhea issues because she wasn't liking that he was going after his dad, and I think that's another thing with Dom that's annoying is that even though Dom was getting sucker punched by Becky, he was still having his feud with Ray, and he had hooked up with Santos, and he was gonna have an alliance with Andrade, so he had that going on separately in the lead up into WrestleMania. It wasn't like he was just doing everything for Rhea, and then nothing was getting built. Even even up until Elimination Chamber that year, it was still some build up with Dom. Like Dom was still trying to recruit Andrade. Dom was still trying to. It was kind of talking to Santos. Dom was trying to bring Santos and Andrade into the clubhouse, and then he got bullied for that. Which this is why I I can't stand Damian Priest to this day for doing that. Like he was just horrible to Dom for just even trying to bring somebody into the clubhouse. So we had that going on for Dom. So Dom was at least doing something. Something was in the field. Like if he wasn't wrestling, he was building something up. Here now, after his return, he's not doing anything. It's not advancing the feud. Just because he's around Liv doesn't mean that's advancing the storyline. That's not Bonnie and Clyde. That's not natural born killers. If you want natural born killers, if you want Bonnie and Clyde, Dom needs to be doing something. Dom needs to be initiating something, and he's not. Um, but like I said, the echoes are there. I mean, people really need to. I would advise at least looking at probably this coming up Monday, and I'm going to get into that too. I keep saying that, but they need to keep seeing the similarities there because it is there. Playlist, post, just everything there. And even with the social media post, Dom is still returning back to his regular scheduled posting with Liv. Yeah, he did post a gift response to Liv, and it's hours later. Like I said, this man established immediate repost, immediate like, immediate reposting and replies to Liv's post. That was established. And we now see that it's just getting really, really sporadic. Like he was responding, what was it to Wade Barrett's? No, it was Jackson. You know when Wade Barrett said that Dom tastes great, because Wade Barrett was wilding on Friday night, and O'Shea was saying that was wild, and then Dom replied, had a reply gift post of Captain America saying, he's out of line, but he's right. He was doing that kind of repost before Liv's post. It's kind of like how he would reply to Austin Theory or Bronson Reed or anything like that before Liv. And that's something that sticks out. Like I said, he established the baseline on how he responded to Liv. He did. During the Liv Dom Summer of 2024, he established the baseline. And he and it's just fallen off by the wayside. Khalif says, was the fans bullying Dom on Friday and Liv should go solo like she did in 2022? That might end up happening. I have always did a initial thought of this could just be a build up for Liv to go solo, go Liv to go face because they want her to have this title for her movie premiere. Kind of like how Becky had the Intercontinental title when she was doing the Star Wars thing, not Star Wars, Star Trek. They might just want her to have it and they might want her to be face. I know Becky's a heel, but Becky's kind of like that in betweener where she kind of goes back and forth. But they might want her because this is might be a major movie premiere. You might want her to be a certain way. Khalif says so. They're putting a pause on Raquel getting mad at Liv, um, and now back buddies. That what's up with that? I mean, that's the thing. Like, why are we pausing it? Why? I mean, why would you do so far with Liv eliminating Raquel? Like, they could have just went with just Raquel getting eliminated earlier or something like that. Without that, if they were just going to do what they're doing now. Now, if it picks up tomorrow, then I guess that's okay. But if they keep pausing it or just keep having Raquel getting interrupted, then that's no bueno because they could have saved the like Liv doing what she did at Royal Rumble to something else, like save it for Elimination Chamber or something like that. Save it for something else. Like, why do you do that at Royal Rumble and then pause it for 2 weeks? Almost. So, also, Don's got some new song lyrics. He posted these two songs after Valentine's Day, and I'm gonna give you what he did. Okay, first up, he did um Lovefool. It's that love me, say that you love me. That's he did that one. And that song is it's talking about insecurity, needing validation, things like that. Where it feels like he wants Liv's validation a little bit. Like if we start combining it with some of the other ones like Shorty and Piles and things like that, we're kind of seeing a pattern here where it just seems like Dom is needy. Like he thinks that Liv is not either not paying him a lot of attention or he feels like he's slipping away or something like that. Um, he's just really just feeling like this need of seeing somebody not just being into him like he is in with her. Also, he also posted by Bow Wow, Out of My System, which infamously is about Bow Wow getting over Ciara. So we got those two songs. And these were on the pictures from SmackDown. So again, these are just song titles that are really showing that there is something under the surface. I have said this for a while now. There's something under the surface. I don't know what it is. Either Dom and Liv are having, trying to put a good face forward publicly, but behind the scenes, it's a mess. Or Dom did do something with Roxanne last year, and Liv is just, being really possessive and insecure, like kind of like marking her territory. It could be that. Or Dom is not liking what Liv is becoming, and because he sees the signs of what he had to deal with Rhea, so that could be happening, but something is underneath the surface here. And like I said, we cannot ignore these song lyrics because we use these song lyrics again in the summer of Live Dom. And these are pointed. Like, why would you post this after Valentine's Day? Like, of all days, why post this after Valentine's Day? Something is there. I'm not sure what, but something is there. Personally, I think something went down while Liv was away, and maybe they're trying to reconcile, and that's why I'm saying, like, maybe something happened between Dom and Roxanne. We don't know. We never got to see what Roxanne and Dom talked about that time. The time Roxanne went after Dom to cheer him up or see what was going on, because he left the Judgment Day clubhouse in a huff that time. So we don't know what went on there. But regardless, we're just seeing a lot of emotional instability right now, at least coming from Dom. And the timing matters a lot. Now, getting back to Dom and Raquel, it's just a stagnation, and that needs to be rectified. So, on Monday Night Raw, here's what I think should be going on. Now, we do know Dom has a qualifier with Gunther and Javon Evans to get into the Elimination Chamber. Now, this could go two ways. I don't think Gunther makes it into Elimination Chamber because I don't think they want him to be pinned. I think Dragon Lee is going to come around and attack Gunther and get him out the match some kind of way. Maybe he like attacks him, takes him out of commission for a little bit, something to keep promoting this feud because Gunther took out his mentor AJ Styles. So Dragon Lee is going to be out for blood and come after Gunther. So Gunther is out of the equation. That leaves us with Javon and Dom. We can go two ways. Dom, he wins, he goes into Elimination Chamber. And I kind of want to see that because he needs something to do anyway. Like, if you're not going to have the man do anything, put him in Elimination Chamber. Or they could have Javon win, and that starts up a Dom and Javon feud for WrestleMania. Because, like I said, I'm not sure Finn is going to be that match for Dom. Unless something happens in these next couple of weeks or so where we get it where Dom will come out there and maybe cost Finn, or maybe not accidentally on purpose, but accidentally cost Finn the title, then I don't see maybe Finn and Dom at WrestleMania. It could be just Devon. And a lot's here, even though I don't want Dom to lose. I wouldn't mind it if it's Javon. Gunther, I don't want to win, like against Javon or Dom. Like, no, that's bullshit. But if it's Javon winning against Dom, that can actually start up Intercontinental Championship match, a championship feud. I have no problem with that. Something to get Dom going. I won't like that he lost, but it's something to get Dom going. But if Dom wins, at least, he can get into the chamber and maybe he can start talking some trap or something like that. I don't know. But either way, something needs to get going with Dom. Like, it needs to be a meaningful loss and a meaningful win for Dom on Monday. Raquel needs something to do. Like, she needs to finally be able to call out Liv, like express her feelings. Like, if you got Zarya down there able to express her feelings, Raquel should be able to express her feelings. Like, I kind of want Raquel to go to Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce and get herself into the Elimination Chamber match. You know, get into that. Maybe she gets into that and she wins. That's what I would like. Because if she isn't, then I'm not sure what she does between now and WrestleMania. Because how long is she gonna be just hanging around not doing anything? That just see that's that stall. Like, why would you have this pull a semi trigger with Liv um at Royal Rumble and then like not have anything for Raquel for all the way up into to WrestleMania? Regarding Liv, they need to do something with that feud. I don't know. They don't need Dom out there for that. If you want to have something out there for translating or something like that, put Raquel out there. Dom doesn't need to be anywhere near that. Like, he already gets enough crap for quote unquote being involved with the women's feuds, so he needs to be away from that. He doesn't need to be in that. He didn't need to be in that last week. So, put Raquel out there if you got to do it, because at least that builds something between Liv and Raquel. You know, so. But other than that, I'm not even sure what Stephanie and Liv do. Like, they've already had their little confrontation, and they needed somebody else to build the heat for that feud. So what are they going to do now? Just attack each other? Maybe another promo battle? Maybe a little scuffle? I don't know. Is Stephanie even in action? Like, is Liv going to sit out there while Stephanie has a match? Is Liv going to be in action? See, this was the problem with Liv and Stephanie. Will it be a good match on paper? Yeah, but see what's going on now? Now we don't know what's going on. At least with Raquel, we could have had something between Raquel and Liv. At least there's some history there. They could have went back and forth a little bit. They could have been smiling in each other's faces while they're about to stab each other in the back. We could have had that. But now with Stephanie and Liv, I'm not sure what they do right at this moment. Do they just have, just come out there and stare at each other? Is they going to be at ringside for a match? Like, what do they do? Finn, with his demented self, should be, I would probably have him attack CM Punk, because Punk wanted the match. Have Finn attack CM Punk again, or just have a good, nice little scrappy brawl or something like that. I would do that. I don't think we need to have any more promos for Finn. He kind of had a nice little. He's had like 2 promos already. So right now, I think it's a little bit more time for action. So he can do some. Maybe, Finn gets like blitz backstage by CM Punk and you get a brawl or something like that. But I think something more actiony for Finn is needed instead of just another promo. If Roxanne is back, I know people were saying that she's like got lingering issues, but that really, really, really hasn't been confirmed as much. And like I said, put a limited stock in dirt sheets. But if she's back, she needs her storyline to start too. Something needs to start. Like, she's just hanging around. She's just there. So something needs to happen with her if she's back. Um, Jacob says, "What are they doing?" Roxanne, I know that she wasn't there last week. She was sick last week, but I'm not sure if that was just an injury sick or just sick. She could have been sick like Charlotte was. Like, Charlotte said she was like throwing up sick during the European tour. So it could be something like that. Um, Chubby Boy says, "I think Dom hooks up with Roxanne and Raquel." I was saying that they could still do Dom's Angel with Roxanne and Raquel. because a lot of things that Dom did not like of Liv's was like her tossing or eliminating Raquel from the Royal Rumble. Go back and look at her. Go back and look at Liv's post. Like she reposted the WWE tossing Raquel out. Dom didn't repost that. And there's some other things that he has not reposted, like that centers around like Raquel, and I think around Finn too, almost. But it's really interesting. Like when Dom was doing that posting blitz, when he was trying to be a good boyfriend, um, after Liv won the Royal Rumble, that was the post that he didn't repost of Liv's. So maybe he is having a problem with how Liv is treating Raquel. I mean, it's just one of those things that stick out. So if they wanted to do something, like if they wanted to do another betrayal angle, because that's what's needed for Liv Morgan's Revenge Tour 2.0, because right now that's just an aesthetic. There's nothing with weight behind it, because she's not really getting revenge on anybody. I mean, like Raquel hasn't done that much. And if eliminating Raquel was like supposed to be the revenge, then that was really really flat because Raquel hadn't done much at that point. And I don't care what people say. Raquel had every right to want to go for the title because she was in the title picture before Liv got back. I mean, Raquel shouldn't have to step aside just because Liv returned. Raquel was still in the title picture. So it could be that version of Dom things. And I know I have a commenter on YouTube that keeps saying that it could be Finn and Liv, and maybe that's how they do get Finn and Liv. And I'm not talking about in a romantic sense. I'm talking about like it might be Finn and Liv ejected, and then you have Dom, Raquel, and Roxanne, and then maybe JD because of what he posted. Like he was saying, you know, what did he say? Coward. You know, he had it, and that's one of those double entendre types of things. Dom has been posting these double entendres with like the song lyrics and stuff like that. But JD that was a really interesting comment on Finn saying, posting the picture of him hugging CM Punk or CM Punk holding him, and he was saying like, "What do you see?" And then JD is like a coward or something like that. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's just really interesting for him to post it like that. Like, are you calling CM Punk a coward? Or are you calling Finn a coward? I mean, it could go either way. Jacob says because the chamber is in the 28th of February. Like we got at least 2 weeks here. They need to start building something up for Dom and Raquel like right now, immediately. Like Dom shouldn't be just standing there just holding his title. If he doesn't win his qualifier, then something needs to happen to get that going. If it's Javon that beats him, then start the feud with Javon. Jacob says, I don't see Dom winning the chamber. I do see Randy or Cody winning the chamber. See, I don't think Dom will win the elimination chamber. That's probably going to be Cody. Because, of course, it's Cody. I don't think Randy's going to win it because I think they're going to run Randy versus Aleister Black just by what happened on SmackDown. So I think it's going to be either Cody. I don't think it's going to be LA Knight. Though it would be really, really interesting if Dom got in there and won it, but I don't think so. Senor says Javon and Gunther had that momentum at Royal Rumble. Now it's Dom's time to do something important. Yeah, like Dom needs to do something now. Like the time is now, like John Cena says. Jacob says, what about Roxanne and AJ for the IC title? after WrestleMania. See, that's where I'm saying where this is not me doing a Dom Rocks agenda. So people that hate listening to me and hate watch me, I'm making this clear. This is not me saying Dom and Roxanne need to be romantically linked for this. I'm just saying if we want to do Roxanne versus AJ or get a Roxanne wanting to interact with her quote unquote mother AJ Lee and her quote unquote dad CM Punk, because CM Punk has said to Roxanne in social media, like, why are you hanging out with the loser, with that loser Dominik Mysterio? Like, he has said that. It's in one of those posts. It's like a month or two ago he posted that. I think it was on Roxanne's birthday he did that. So if you want to look up Roxanne's birthday, go look up the CM Punk post. I think it was on Instagram. But if you want to run Dom and CM Punk, and you want to run Roxanne and AJ Lee, it would kind of make sense to do Dom and Roxanne versus AJ Lee and CM Punk, because Dom and CM Punk already got history there, and then you got CM Punk thinking of Roxanne quote unquote like a daughter. And if they want to go with like the rebellious daughter angle with like AJ Lee and CM Punk, you could do that with Roxanne. And with this, you could actually be referencing some history with about AJ Lee. AJ Lee could be like, "Hey, I was acting like this when all these years ago in the WWE." You could be doing that, and I think that would just make that feud a lot more interesting because they have so much history to play off of between Dom and CM Punk and AJ Lee and Roxanne. Like, there's history there. With Liv, it's not that much. Are they Liv and AJ Lee Jersey girls? Yeah. But if you want to throw Roxanne and AJ Lee and they're fighting over the Intercontinental Championship, then you got something built up there. Think of it this way. You got Dom and Roxanne. CM Punk is disappointed dad. And then AJ Lee, just kind of recounting like what she did with like John Cena and Kane and Dolph Ziggler and all that. If you remember AJ Lee's history there before she got around, and then Bryan, Daniel Bryan, she has all that history. So if you wanted to run something like that, and then maybe CM Punk and AJ Lee are trying to disagreeing with it, and then Dom is just being his Dom self and just kind of rubbing salt into the wound against CM Punk, because he always has that grudge because of what the straight edge society did with his family when Ray was going up against CM Punk. Then you got a nice history built feud right there. And to me that just makes a lot of sense because of the history. And like I said, I'm not saying this just because I want Dom and Roxanne. I'm just saying from a history standpoint and a drama field standpoint, because if y'all know me, y'all know I love messiness. Kane and Lita is my favorite wrestling running. Then I want the drama. I want the messiness. And that is a lot of drama and a lot of messiness if they run that. Because that will give AJ something, something to do. And AJ probably won't have to be, like, if she's going to be in and out, like she has been, and she's not around, then, you can run, Dom, Punk, Roxanne for a while, just the three of them there. And then AJ can pop in when she's needed. And I think they could carry that, and it'll be really entertaining feud that could probably carry somebody all the way to SmackDown. I mean, not SmackDown, SummerSlam. If they play it right, and if they want to start it up after WrestleMania, like if the betrayal happens, if because I always have to put that caveat there. If a betrayal happens at WrestleMania, and it's just like Dom and Roxanne and maybe Raquel, they can pick up with CM Punk and Dom, And then you could throw Roxanne in there, and then you can start throwing AJ in there, and then you can just, and then like I said, you just pick up the history. And like I said, I think Roxanne being that rebellious daughter to grizzled old dad, grizzled old man CM Punk would be really interesting and probably hella funny too. Um, Senor said if Dom qualifies tomorrow, I want to see him receive a super RKO the same spot like JD had at War Games. Like I know he would sell his ass off for that. I kind of want him to be like what Austin Theory did while he was in the chamber. You know how Austin Theory thought he was safe, like he locked one side of the chamber pod so Johnny Gargano couldn't get to him, but Seth came in from the other side, pun intended. And both Seth and Johnny Gargano started beating up uh, Austin Theory. Then they closed the pod and just started beating up on him again. That's kind of what I kind of want for Dom if he's in there. Like Dom is just he's like the last pod to open. He's been talking all this shit. People want to get after him, and he just manages to keep running away until he can't run away anymore, and that just be par for the course for Dom. I love that because that'd be funny. It's kind of like how I wanted him to be at the Royal Rumble. Like maybe he rolls out and hides underneath the ring until the very last minute, then tries to come in at after the person thinks he's won, and then try to toss him out. Like that's something I would think Dom would do well as well. Same thing with Chelsea. But I kind of want Dom, if he's in Elimination Chamber, just to be that last one out. And he's just avoiding everybody, even though he's talked a lot of shit. So people are just waiting for his pod to open. And it finally opens, and then he's like running for his life. Let me check something here. So Senor says, I predict Dom and Punk will happen at SummerSlam before Dom wins the Money in the Bank. See, that's kind of what I think too. I think CM Punk will probably be the next feud for Dom, and Dom needs to win Money in the Bank. People are saying Logan Paul. Logan Paul needs to stay the fuck away. He's always been in the title match. He doesn't need a Money in the Bank, you know? Like, let Money in the Bank be for somebody that hasn't gotten to main event status. Like that should be for a Dom. That should be like for a Javon. That should be actually for like a Braun Breaker. If they really wanted to do it, like that should be somebody that's probably hasn't really been around the main event. But I would have that for Dom. Logan Paul doesn't need that. Jacob says, "What about a brother and sister storyline between Dom and Charlene?" See, that's what I kind of want because if Aaliyah, like Aaliyah Mysterio, is training or she wants to train, they can totally run that. Dom can say, I am going to bring in my real sister, Charlene Guerrero, to handle Aaliyah. And see, this is why Buddy Matthews, if he wasn't in AEW, you could have had ran Aaliyah and go grab Buddy. I know that's Rhea's husband, but still, that's that storyline. And if y'all remember that storyline from the pandemic era, just have Aaliyah be like, all right, bet I'm going to go bring Buddy Matthews, and then that's history. You see how I keep referencing history? Because I know that's what Triple H likes to do. He loves his callbacks. So if you want history, you could, if Buddy was around, or if he's, I don't know what the status on Buddy. I know he's still with AEW, but I think he's still healing with his ankle and his foot and whatever. But if he was available, then you could have ran Sherilyn and Dom with Aaliyah and Buddy, and and that would be really great callbacks there. If you have Seth still as the Messiah, the prophet, and all that, that would have been really cool too. That would be callbacks all around for that storyline. That's kind of why I'm saying, like, for history's sake and for storyline's sake, it kind of makes sense to go Dom, Roxanne, AJ Lee, and CM Punk. And to be honest, I'd rather have Roxanne run that storyline with AJ Lee because that's been building in the background. Like, we know that that feud or that storyline is going to happen, and I want that for her. It's like some of these other people where you kind of want them to start having the storylines because they're around. That's the storyline that I want for Roxanne. Jacob says, "What about LA Knight winning the Money in the Bank? He's just lost it so many times. I don't want him in it if he's just gonna keep losing it again. Like, LA Knight, just give him a title." But what haven't I covered? But yeah, I think that covers everything. I covered SmackDown, even though I kind of went ranty on that one. Um, just to kind of read things, to kind of wrap up everything. I do think um, Dom and Raquel need to advance their storylines forward. Like, that needs to happen tomorrow on Monday immediately. Um, Roxanne, if she's back, she needs to do something. But Finn, I hope he gets physical with CM Punk. With Liv and Stephanie tomorrow, I don't know what they're gonna do. And again, that's why they should have had Raquel versus Liv. And I'm gonna say that until I'm blue in the face. Because what are they gonna do? You don't have, and and they should not be bringing Dom back out there for that. Like, I'm going to be annoyed if Dom is out there when he has a elimination chamber qualifier the same night. Like, let the man folk, if he's gonna be out there, let him do his elimination chamber qualifier. And if he has to do something, let that be backstage or something like that. Like, I don't want him, live live and Dom, and then Stephanie trying to, get the, Dom trying to generate interest between that. At this point, Stephanie should be able to sink or swim, and she needs to start swimming. It was Raquel that gave Stephanie a lot of life when Raquel was beating her ass. So she needs to start swimming. If she can't keep up with Liv, then what does that tell you? So I don't. So I say all that to say that I don't know what they're going to do with Liv and Stephanie. Like, something needs to happen. I don't know how creative they're going to be. Maybe a brawl. Maybe something. I don't know. Like, and I really don't like how they're delaying the choice of Liv. Maybe it's because Reigns made his choice so soon. But I don't really like how they're delaying it because we do know that she's going to go for Stephanie. Unless they happen to pivot and go for Jade, which is entirely possible because of what's going on with Bianca. But you know, there's no reason to delay it like this. The only reason I was thinking they might delay it is because Raquel could make, like, her choice. Like, like, say this, like, Raquel wins, she gets into the elimination chamber, she wins, she chooses Stephanie because Liv hasn't made her freaking choice yet. And then that's when Liv decides, oh, I want to go for Stephanie. And that's how you get the ball rolling on that. See what I mean? That's the only reason I could see a delay. But if they're not going to be doing that, there's no point in delaying it unless there's something going on where they have to have Liv available just in case they want her to go after Jade. You see what I mean? Also, song lyrics. You can go back and look at Dom's song lyrics on Instagram. Look up the lyrics if y'all want. If y'all don't believe me, because it's just really interesting to see him post that after Valentine's Day. JD has some interesting comments as well regarding Finn and CM Punk. We don't know if he was referring to CM Punk or Finn, and that's what makes it interesting. Also, social media stuff. Keep an eye on what Dom likes and does not like, and the time period, because that man is back to up to an hour or more on responding to certain things. And like I said, for Monday Night Raw, that's going to be hitting tomorrow. Um, Hopefully, we get some nice advancement. Either Dom, if Dom has to lose, it needs to be pinned by Javon. And if he wins, he wins. But hopefully, this kicks off what he's going to do. If they're going to be kicking off Finn and Dom, something needs to get started there too, like something. Maybe Dom wants to prove that he's still family with Finn, and he's going to help out Finn with CM Punk. Something needs to get set up there. You can't keep pushing this all the way to Elimination Chamber, because Elimination Chamber is like February, and that only gives you about around a month, maybe a month and a half for for WrestleMania. So that needs to get going. Like, if you're gonna have Dom and Finn, that needs to get going. I know that they've teased it for a year, but still, you still have to have a catalyst for that to get going. Jacob says, "How long do you think Dom's three-way match will go on Raw?" That's probably one or two commercial breaks. I think I answered Khalib's question, which is when is Liv going to make her decision to stop trolling around? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense for her to delay. Like, if it's going to be Stephanie, just got and announce it for Stephanie. But if they're trying to make a drama out of it, like they want to do something like Raquel chooses Stephanie and then Liv chooses Stephanie, and Liv throws her weight around because she's the Royal Rumble winner, then I can see that happening. But I think that's it. I'll be back on TikTok live tomorrow to discuss Raw. Thank y'all for being here for my technical difficulties, and I need to get this straightened out before tomorrow night. But yeah, I think we got to see something moving for Dom, especially Dom and Raquel. Dom and Raquel are my focus here. Liv will be fine. She's a Royal Rumble winner. They already got stuff revolving around her anyway. So, and that's not from a place of hate. That's just stating the obvious. Like, she's already got stuff rolling around. She'll be fine. We need to focus on Dom. We need to focus on Raquel. And Finn needs some focus too. And if Roxanne is back, she needs some focus too. But I'll be back TikTok live to review Raw. And hopefully we have some positive things, positive outcomes to happen on Monday night Raw. But I bid you all adieu. I gotta go fix my computer because I don't know what was going on. But I thank y'all all for hanging in there with me, answering questions while I tried to get back up. But until next time, I bid you all adieu.